Welcome into another edition of our Wildcat Weekly. I'm super excited to be joined by Casey Thousand, the head coach of the NMU women's basketball team. Casey, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I know your team's just getting back from a trip to Wisconsin Dells, and I do want to dive into that here in a little bit, but I do want to talk about your exhibition on November 3rd. A very special night for your program. You took on Wisconsin Stevens Point. It was a good opportunity for you to kind of get a first look at what this year's team is going to look like, but it was also a opportunity to celebrate one of the greats in your program's history, Lisa Jamila Mackey, getting her jersey retired, her number 40 jersey retired, the first in program's history. Can you just kind of talk about that afternoon and just how special it was for you and your program?
The celebration was awesome. Lisa's been a big part of our program, even, for 4 years that she was playing at NMU, but even afterwards. I mean, she's been a great supporter, a great alumni, and she earned it. I mean, she's still found in the record books in multiple categories. And so we were kind of talking about retired jerseys, and I'm like, Lisa's a no-brainer. We got to get her in right away.
So you get Lisa's jersey retired, Tom Izzo's jersey is retired. A great time to be in an NMU Wildcat right now. So that's kind of neat. I do want to talk about, obviously, Wisconsin Dells. It was your first road trip. You had played 2 games. You went 2-0 in those games. It started with Thomas More. This one went into overtime. It was a good opportunity for your team to kind of see how they reacted, I guess, in a high-pressure situation. Defense looked great. You had a couple players in double figures. Can you kind of just talk about what you saw out of that game and what you liked in that game as well?
We saw a lot. I mean, Thomas More coming in, it's a new coach, it's into a new program with a pretty new team as well. So we really didn't know what to expect. So we were kind of going in blind, but our team was really resilient and just kind of stayed steady throughout the whole game. They went on some runs, we went on some runs, and through the end, I think our upperclassmen and our leadership just kind of kept us going, and we were able to pull it out. But yeah, it was a nail biter. It was crazy, and it was hot in there. But it was also great. We had a ton of fans, a ton of families, and came and supported us. So it was 2 really exciting games, but it was always to get that first win under your belt. It's like, okay, now you can relax a little bit. You got the win, and we just keep going from there.
Second game against Lewis, not as stressful for you, I'm sure. You got off to a fast start in that one and were able to hold off the Flyers for your second victory of the season. Again, your defense played really well, holding your second opponent under 50 points, which is really good. Tell me what you thought about that game.
Yeah, Lewis is a very good team. They were picked to win their conference, and we knew that coming in. They played Michigan Tech the day before, so we kind of got a good look at what they're doing. And we played them in the past, so we kind of knew a little bit of their scheme and what they were planning on doing. But our defense really did a good job that first period when we could hold them to single digits, which was phenomenal. But just all around, too, we came out, and I was a little nervous after an overtime game. You don't know what the bodies are going to feel like or what the energy is going to be. But we came out blazing, and it was so good to see, and they were ready to go. And just the teamwork that we have right now, both on the offensive side and the defensive side, is really, really good. Everybody's relying on everybody, and they're helping each other out, and our bench is just electric. Like, they're just up and cheering. We almost have to calm them down at times, it makes it really fun.
Obviously, you have to replace McKaylee Kuhn's production. It's not easy to do. Obviously, she leaves the program as one of the best players to ever wear a Wildcats uniform. But it seems like you are getting production from a handful of players, which bodes well for you guys moving forward. One of the newcomers is Alyssa Hill,
yes.
And it's a player that we know very well here at MyUP Sports. She's from Negaunee, was a standout for the Miners. She goes to Bemidji State for 2 years and then transfers over to help fortify your front court. And we were talking a little off camera. She's been playing really well for you early on. Talk about just her production and I guess just her importance to this team.
Oh, I mean, she was kind of the missing piece that we need after graduating Anna too last year. She was a big presence for us inside, both offensively and defensively, where Alyssa Hill came in, and she's very steady, I would say, too. She doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, but she is just, her presence inside makes a difference on both ends of the court, and she's just a good person, a good kid. She works hard, and she's still adapting, I think, to a little bit of what we're doing, but she's fitting in with the team really well. Everybody gets along, and it just makes it fun as a coach just to see how we're all meshing together here early on in the season, and Alyssa's a big part. Being local, obviously, she gets us involved in a bunch of local stuff too, which I think is really cool with her family and friends, and the support there is just like she fits in really well with what we have right now.
Friday night, your first home game of this season at the newly renovated Vandermint Arena. I was able to catch a few NMU volleyball games. The venue is incredible. It looks really nice, and I know you're excited to get in front of your home fans for a game against Minnesota Crookston. So talk about your preparation. What are you talking about with your team, and what are you expecting out of that one?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't played them in a couple years. We do have a transfer from there as well. Abby came from them, and so it's going to be a tough battle. It always is. It's going to be fun because it's going to be home in front of our home fans in our new arena, which is exciting. And I think, you know, we're excited just to show we are very different with losing Michaela and with losing Anna, that we have a lot of different weapons, and any given time anybody can step up. So our preparation right now is just making sure our team's ready to go, and hopefully we got some of the jitters out, which was kind of the first game down in the Dells, where at home we can just have fun and just enjoy what we're doing, and it's going to take our whole crew each and every game, and I think they kind of realize that with our first 2 games under our belt.
So you get a little inside intel from for Minnesota Crookston, but
Yep.
then Bemidji comes to town. Alyssa Hill transferring over from Bemidji. Has she told you anything about their team? What are you expecting out of that one?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. We talked a little bit about that, but the big thing, right? We like to take it one game at a time.
Right.
So we're looking at Crookston. We got to take care of business there
That's
first
fair, okay.
before we move on to Bemidji. But at the same time, I mean, they got to stop us as well, just like we got to stop them. So I'm just excited to see our team put things together. We have a bunch of different people contributing, and both offensively and defensively, if we can keep holding teams under that 50 point, like, yes, you're very happy as a coach, but I would like us to score a couple more points on the offensive end. So we're still working on some things. We're still prepping all week. Once we got back on Saturday night pretty late, you know, we had Sunday to kind of rest up, but we've been in the gym, we've been working hard, and it's going to be a fun weekend for us.
You know, I was talking to head coach Matt Makerzak of the NMU men's team recently, and I was discussing with him, this is kind of the golden era of NMU basketball. I grew up in Marquette, was an NMU basketball fan growing up, but I don't remember a time where both the men's and women's program had so much, I guess, momentum and positive energy surrounding their programs. Would you say so yourself? Do you kind of feel like we're in a unique time here for NMU basketball?
I think so, and it's an exciting time too, obviously, with the Michigan State game and everything that revved up with that. It kind of got our season going, I think, with the men. But at the same time, we both support each other. We bounce ideas off of each other. I mean, it's a really cohesive unit on both sides of the court, which I think is awesome. And our players get along great. They support each other, and just the prep that it takes to build a program and to build, it's more just the players that we have. We'd like to say the coaches do a great job, and you know, we support each other, but our players are just phenomenal people, and that's what makes it so much fun, just to support each other and to be successful.
Well, thank you, Casey, for your time. Good luck against Minnesota Crookston, and then obviously good luck against Bemidji State as well, and moving forward for the rest of your season.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me.